In the early morning hours of January 18th, I found myself standing outside of Wolfsbane Research Facility, bundled up in several layers of clothing against the harsh mountain air. As I shivered from the cold, I couldn't help but feel a sense of unease wash over me. Something didn't seem quite right here. But then again, maybe that was just my imagination playing tricks on me. After all, I was about to embark on a 6-month research project at the remote lab nestled deep within the mountains. My arrival at the facility was met with little fanfare, save for a few curious glances from the staff members who'd been stationed there long before my arrival. Dr. Elizabeth Blackwood, the lead researcher on the team, greeted me warmly as she showed me around the cramped living quarters and laboratory areas. I noticed that the place felt eerily quiet compared to other labs I'd worked at in the past, and even the sound of the howling wind outside seemed muted somehow. The purpose of our project was simple: observe and study the behaviors of a pack of captive wolves kept in enclosed pens. Our goal was to better understand the social dynamics and communication patterns of these animals, which would have far-reaching implications for conservation efforts and understanding human interactions as well. Despite the lofty goals we were working towards, I couldn't shake off the feeling that something sinister was hiding beneath the surface of Wolfsbane. It wasn't until 2 weeks into my stay that things began to take a turn for the worse. One night, after returning from my rounds, checking on the wolf pen cameras, I heard a strange noise coming from one of the buildings nearby. Curiosity getting the better of me, I cautiously approached the structure and peered through a crack in the doorframe. What I saw inside nearly made me vomit on the spot. 2 of the wolf handlers, John Doe and Jane Smith, were locked inside a small room. Their bodies contorted grotesquely as they writhed in agony. They weren't alone either. 6 snarling wolves were tearing at. But her voice grew more urgent as I continued, telling me to gather supplies from the lab and prepare a makeshift treatment area in one of the empty rooms downstairs. She warned me not to waste time discussing details over the radio and just follow orders if we wanted to keep anyone else from suffering the same fate as the others. Fear gripped me like a vice as I relayed instructions back to the remaining staff members huddled together in the commons room. Dr. Blackwood insisted we move quickly since any delay could mean losing precious lives. With a renewed sense of urgency, I grabbed a medical kit and some basic antiviral medications and headed toward the stairwell. Even though I tried my best to ignore the chaos unfolding around me, the sounds of disemboweled and partially devoured corpses strewn across every available surface seared themselves into my memory forever. As I reached the main level and exited the building, I immediately noted an eerie silence settle over everything, broken only by distant howls, echoing eerily throughout the valley. My breath caught in my throat as I realized the cause of the stillness lay just beyond the front doors. Outside, a thick, misty veil now shrouded the entire compound, obstructing visibility beyond arm's reach. Its presence sent chills coursing down my spine. Returning to the lab, I focused solely on executing Dr. Blackwood's commands to ready the space for potential victims, barely acknowledging my fellow workers struggling to keep order amidst the mounting carnage. Somewhere along the way, panic broke out among us, causing formerly trustworthy colleagues to become paranoid strangers overnight. At least a third of the staff went missing soon after the first wave of attacks started. We could only speculate whether those missing persons had managed to escape or were simply consumed by whatever malevolent force plagued us in our frozen hellhole. Despite the mounting evidence pointing to something supernatural, most of us refused to acknowledge such possibilities. Instead, we convinced ourselves that some unknown agent must be responsible for our troubles. No matter how much logic dictated otherwise, faith in science remained strong enough to fuel the hope that whatever afflicted us could eventually be explained away and controlled via scientific methods and observation techniques that defined modern biology and zoology. That misguided confidence allowed each of us to continue holding on to what little sanity we possessed during this trying time. Forced to rely on each other for survival, I became acutely aware of the strained relationships forming between the scientists sharing quarters within our isolated facility. The daily struggles to maintain the health and safety of our patients while fending off increasingly hostile predators left no time for petty concerns and personal grudges. However, hidden resentments never truly vanish, especially when confined alongside people you might have once despised or envied prior to being trapped in such dire circumstances. The longer our situation lasted, the easier it became for old animosities to flourish once again. Distrustful whispers filled shared sleeping spaces, making it clear everyone considered their fellow comrades suspects at some point. Throughout these turbulent times, Dr. Blackwood emerged as a formidable leader, managing to unite disparate factions whenever possible while keeping morale high, despite endless setbacks. Her determination to find answers through rigorous experimentation and analysis impressed many, including skeptics initially resistant to her ideas. By utilizing the latest advancements in AI technology and advanced analytical tools developed by our corporate benefactors, Blackwood aimed to decode the mysterious behavioral changes transforming previously docile subjects into violent killers. One particular breakthrough occurred shortly after introducing artificial neural networks capable of scanning massive amounts of data accumulated by our research teams during the outbreak's earliest stages. Unbeknownst to most of us, Blackwood created customized algorithms focusing specifically on deciphering correlations, conditions. This led to innovative theories about using pheromones to regain control over the transformed creatures without resorting to lethal means or drastic measures that would further destabilize our fragile ecosystem. As new strategies for restoring balance began taking shape, hope slowly returned to our group, but always tempered with caution born from hard-won experience. No matter how promising the future seemed, we knew nothing was guaranteed until victory could be declared unequivocally. The constant threat posed by both natural hazards and intelligent enemies kept all of us perpetually on edge. Anything might tip the scales back against us without warning, and so we pressed forward ever cautiously, determined yet watchful and respectful of forces far greater than human comprehension. Despite bleak days filled with bloodshed, isolation, and fear, we discovered fortitude, and resourcefulness buried deep within our souls, enabling unexpected progress in even the darkest hour. In conclusion, life is capricious. Success and failure are often measured by slim margins where chance encounters can redirect the course of history forevermore. Whether embraced opportunistically or confronted stoically, change will ultimately sculpt the trajectory of existence for better or worse. Yet even as adversity looms large, it provides fertile ground for growth and adaptation. Ultimately, facing challenges directly rather than hiding behind excuses or false ideologies reveals the strength inherent in our species, allowing humankind to surpass its original limitations and achieve greatness through cooperation and understanding. This account serves as proof that even under extreme duress, collaboration and knowledge can overcome seemingly insurmountable odds, paving the road towards brighter horizons for generations to come. Through adversity comes wisdom and inspiration, encouraging continued pursuit of truth and enlightenment in defiance of obstacles standing before us today and tomorrow. Always remember, human nature is malleable. History is shaped by choices and actions. The future remains limitlessly potential, waiting just beyond the next horizon. Embrace your dreams, chase your passions, seek the unknown, and strive toward a more inclusive world where diversity is celebrated as an essential building block of unity. Together, let's illuminate the darkness that binds humanity, bringing warmth, joy, peace, and prosperity to every corner of our interconnected planetary home. Therein lies our ultimate destiny as thinking, feeling custodians, empowered by reason, compassion, and ambition. The driving engines propelling humankind's quest for eternal wisdom throughout boundless cosmic expanses. So here's to discovering who we may yet become together. May the stars guide us, friends. Live long and prosper. For just $3 a month, you can have your name featured in my YouTube videos and descriptions. Not only will you be supporting my channel, but you'll also be immortalized in the credits of my content. If you're looking for something a bit more personalized, consider becoming a $25 a month patron. I'll voice your stories and bring them to life on my channel. Create a special drawing just for you, or even write a unique story tailored to your interests. So don't hesitate. Join my patron community today and help me keep the spooky stories coming. And remember, together we can save each other from the YouTube algorithm. Thank you for your support.